At my father's will reading, my stepmother smiled as everything went to her. The $1.2 million house, his entire estate. She'd married my dying father 6 months before he died. We knew she was a gold digger, but we couldn't prove it. Then the lawyer said, "There's a second envelope." What was inside? Sent her to prison. My name is Claire. I'm 30 years old, and this is the story of how my father outsmarted a woman trying to steal everything he'd built, even while dying. Let me start at the beginning. My father, Robert Morrison, was a successful architect. He built his firm from nothing, started in his 20s. By his 50s, he was well-known, respected, wealthy, not billionaire wealthy, but comfortable. Very comfortable. He owned a beautiful home in Connecticut, worth about $1.2 million. He had savings, investments, retirement accounts, a life insurance policy. Everything totaled around $3 million. My mother died when I was 15. Breast cancer. It devastated my father. But he never remarried. He focused on his work, on raising me and my 2 siblings. My brother Thomas is 32. My sister Amy is 28. We all had good relationships with Dad. Not perfect, but good. He was proud of us. We talked regularly, had family dinners, celebrated holidays together. 2 years ago, Dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. The doctors gave him 6 months to a year, maybe longer with treatment. We were crushed, but Dad was strong. He said he'd fight, and he did. He went through chemotherapy, radiation, clinical trials, anything to buy more time. The cancer was brutal. Dad got weaker, thinner. He needed help. So we hired a private nurse, someone to come to the house, help with medications, meals, basic care. That's how Vanessa entered our lives. Vanessa Clark, 35 years old, blonde, beautiful, friendly. She seemed competent at first, professional. She took good care of Dad, made sure he took his meds on time, helped him stay comfortable. We were grateful. But then things started changing. Vanessa started staying later, coming earlier. She was there almost all the time. Dad seemed happier when she was around. He smiled more, laughed. We thought it was nice, that she was good for his spirits. Then, about 8 months into her employment, Dad called a family meeting. He sat us down, looking healthier than he had in weeks, almost giddy. "I have some news," he said. "I've asked Vanessa to marry me, and she said yes." The room went silent. Thomas spoke first. "Dad? You're joking, right?" "No, I'm completely serious. I love her. She makes me happy. We're getting married next month." Amy's voice was small. "Dad, you've only known her for 8 months. When you're dying, time moves differently. I know what I want, and I want to spend whatever time I have left with Vanessa." I tried to stay calm. "Dad, have you thought about this? Really thought about it?" "Of course I have. She's your nurse. This seems fast." His expression hardened. "Are you suggesting she's after my money?" "I'm suggesting you should be careful." "I'm dying, Claire. I don't have time to be careful. I have time to be happy, and Vanessa makes me happy." Thomas stood up. "Dad, this is insane. You barely know this woman." "I know her well enough, and I'm marrying her. You can either be happy for me or not, but it's happening." We tried to talk him out of it. For weeks. We researched Vanessa, found nothing alarming, no criminal record, no history of fraud. She was just a nurse. But something felt wrong. The timing, the speed, her age. Everything about it screamed gold digger. But Dad wouldn't listen. He accused us of being cruel, of not wanting him to be happy, of being greedy and worried about our inheritance. That hurt. We weren't worried about the money. We were worried about him, but he couldn't see it. 1 month later, they got married. Small ceremony. Just Dad, Vanessa, and a justice of the peace. He didn't even invite us. We found out after. We were heartbroken. Our relationship with Dad became strained. He spent all his time with Vanessa. She answered his phone, screened his calls, made excuses for why he couldn't see us. He's tired. He's not feeling well. Maybe next week. Next week never came. We saw Dad maybe once a month after the wedding, and Vanessa was always there, hovering, controlling the conversation, watching everything we said. 6 months after the wedding, Dad's health took a turn. He declined rapidly. The cancer had spread. There was nothing more the doctors could do. Hospice was called in. Dad had maybe weeks left. We tried to see him more. Vanessa made it difficult. He needs rest. You're upsetting him. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow he'd be asleep, or Vanessa would have another excuse. Thomas finally had enough. He showed up unannounced, demanded to see Dad. Vanessa called the police, said he was trespassing, in our father's house, the house we grew up in. It was a nightmare. 2 weeks later, Dad died. Vanessa called to tell us. Her voice was flat, emotionless. Your father passed this morning. Funeral arrangements will be announced soon. Then she hung up. We weren't allowed to help with the funeral. Vanessa planned everything. Small service, her choice of flowers, her choice of music. We felt like outsiders at our own father's funeral. After the funeral, Vanessa's lawyer contacted us. There would be a will reading. Next week, at the lawyer's office, we had to be there. The day of the will reading arrived. We drove to the lawyer's office together. Thomas, Amy, and me. All wearing black. Still grieving. Still in shock that Dad was gone. Vanessa was already there when we arrived, sitting in the conference room, wearing a Chanel suit, designer shoes, expensive jewelry. She looked like she was going to a cocktail party, not a will reading for her dead husband. She didn't acknowledge us when we walked in, just stared at her phone, smiling, texting someone. The lawyer, Mr. Patterson, entered. Elderly man, very professional. He'd known our father for years. Thank you all for coming, he said. I know this is a difficult time. Let's proceed with the reading of Robert Morrison's last will and testament. He opened a folder, began reading. I, Robert Morrison, being of sound mind. The standard legal language. Then he got to the important part. To my beloved wife, Vanessa Morrison, I leave my entire estate. My stomach dropped. This includes my home at 47 Riverside Drive, valued at approximately $1.2 million. My savings accounts, investment portfolios, retirement funds, and life insurance policy, totaling approximately $1.8 million. All personal property, vehicles, and remaining assets. Vanessa smiled, actually smiled, not trying to hide it anymore. To my children, Claire, Thomas, and Amy Morrison, I leave my personal effects to be divided equally among them. This includes photographs, personal letters, and items of sentimental value only. That was it. Personal effects, photographs, nothing else. Thomas's face went red. This is bullshit. Mr. Patterson held up a hand. Please let me finish. Amy was crying. I felt numb. Dad had left us nothing. Everything went to a woman he'd known for less than 2 years, a woman who'd married him while he was dying. Vanessa leaned back in her chair, practically glowing. She'd won. Mr. Patterson cleared his throat. However, before we conclude, your father left very specific instructions. He reached into his briefcase, pulled out a sealed manila envelope. There is a second envelope to be opened only after the first will has been read in full and witnessed by all parties. Vanessa's smile faltered. What second envelope? Your husband's instructions were very clear, Mrs. Morrison. This envelope was not to be opened until this exact moment. He broke the seal. Inside was a handwritten letter and a flash drive. Mr. Patterson read the letter aloud. To my children, Claire, Thomas, and Amy, if you're hearing this, then the first will has been read, and Vanessa has just learned she's inherited everything. I imagine she's quite pleased with herself. Vanessa, if you're listening, you should know something. I wasn't as senile as you thought. Vanessa's face went white. I knew exactly what you were doing from the moment you started manipulating your way into my life. I was dying, not stupid. The flash drive Mr. Patterson is now holding contains 6 months of evidence, recordings, documents, proof of everything. Mr. Patterson inserted the flash drive into his laptop. Turned the screen so we could all see. Files appeared, dozens of them, audio recordings. Let's start with this one, Mr. Patterson said. He clicked on a file. Vanessa's voice filled the room, crystal clear. I don't care if he's dying. I need him to last at least 6 months after the wedding. Otherwise, I won't get the full insurance payout. Another voice. A man's. You sure he's going to change the will? He already did. I watched him sign it. Everything comes to me. The kids get nothing. Laughter. You're brilliant. I know. By this time next year, I'll be a very wealthy widow. The recording ended. Vanessa looked like she might throw up. That was taken out of context. Mr. Patterson clicked another file. Another recording. Vanessa again. The cancer's spreading faster than expected. I need to speed things up. The man's voice. What do you mean? I'm going to adjust his medication. Nothing that'll kill him outright. Just help things along. Silence. Are you serious? He's dying anyway. This just moves the timeline. And the sooner he's gone, the sooner I can access the money. The room was dead silent. Thomas stood up. You were poisoning him? Vanessa's hands were shaking. No, that's not... I never actually did that. It was just talk. Mr. Patterson clicked another file. Medical records. Dad's blood work from his final weeks. Highlighted sections. Your father had his blood tested independently through a private lab, Mr. Patterson said, without Vanessa's knowledge. The results show elevated levels of morphine, far beyond his prescribed dosage. She was overdosing him. Amy gasped. That's why he deteriorated so fast. Mr. Patterson nodded. Your father suspected as much, which is why he hired a private investigator 6 months before his death. More files appeared. Photos. Vanessa meeting with a man, at hotels, restaurants, kissing. The man in these photos is Marcus Webb, Mr. Patterson said. Vanessa's boyfriend of 3 years. They never broke up, even after she married your father. More recordings. Vanessa and Marcus planning. How to access Dad's accounts. How to transfer money. How to make it look legitimate. How to cut us out completely. The evidence kept coming. Forged documents, fake power of attorney forms. Attempts to access Dad's accounts before he died. All of it. Documented, recorded, proven. Finally, Mr. Patterson looked up. Your father's letter continues, he read. By now, Vanessa, you've realized I knew everything. I played along because I needed you to incriminate yourself. I needed evidence that would hold up in court. The will you just heard read? It's void. Obtained through fraud and undue influence. My real will, the one I executed before I ever met Vanessa, leaves everything to my children equally. Vanessa gets nothing. Furthermore, I've instructed Mr. Patterson to turn over all evidence to the police immediately following this reading. Vanessa, you're going to prison. Mr. Patterson closed the laptop. Mrs. Morrison, I'm obligated to inform you that I've already contacted the police. They're waiting outside. Vanessa jumped up. You can't do this. It's already done. I was his wife. I have rights. You committed fraud, elder abuse, possibly attempted murder. You have the right to remain silent. The door opened. 2 police officers entered. Vanessa Morrison? She tried to run. They caught her, handcuffed her, read her rights. She was screaming. This is entrapment. He set me up. He married me. That makes the will legal. You can't do this. But they could, and they did. They led her out, still screaming, still fighting. The room was silent after she left. Mr. Patterson turned to us. I'm sorry you had to witness that. Your father wanted you to see the evidence, to understand what she tried to do. Thomas was pale. He knew the whole time. He suspected from early on. By the time they married, he was certain. But he needed proof that would hold up legally, so he played along. He let her think she was winning. Yes, and in doing so, he got everything on record. Her intentions, her actions, her conspiracy with Mr. Webb, all of it. Amy wiped her eyes. Is the real will really in our favor? Mr. Patterson pulled out another document. Yes, your father's legitimate will, executed 2 years before he met Vanessa, divides his estate equally among the 3 of you. Everything. The house, the money, all of it. What happens to Vanessa? She's being charged with elder abuse, fraud, attempted murder, and conspiracy. The district attorney has all the evidence. She's looking at significant prison time. And she got it. The trial was 8 months later. Vanessa tried to claim she was innocent, that Dad had manipulated her, that the recordings were fake. None of it worked. The evidence was overwhelming. Audio recordings in her own voice, medical records showing overdose, financial documents showing fraud, testimony from the private investigator, everything. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced her to 15 years in prison. Marcus Webb got 12 years as an accomplice. Vanessa screamed when the sentence was read. Blamed us. Blamed Dad. Blamed everyone but herself. We didn't feel sorry for her. Not for a second. The estate settled quickly after that. The house was sold. We split the proceeds, along with all of Dad's other assets. Each of us received about $1 million. But more than the money, we got justice. Dad had protected us. Even while dying. Even while we thought he'd abandoned us for Vanessa. He was gathering evidence, building a case, making sure she couldn't win. I found one more letter among his personal effects, addressed to me, written weeks before he died. It said, Claire, I know these past months have been hard. I know you thought I'd lost my mind. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the truth. But I needed Vanessa to believe she'd fooled me. I needed her to feel safe enough to show her true intentions. By the time you read this, you'll know everything. You'll understand why I did what I did. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I pushed you away. But I had to protect you. All of you. Vanessa was dangerous, calculating. I couldn't let her win. I love you. I've always loved you. And I made sure you and your siblings will be taken care of. Don't mourn me too long. I got to see justice served. That's all I wanted. Love, Dad. I cried when I read it. Not sad tears, proud tears. My father had been brilliant, strategic, protective until the very end. He'd let Vanessa think she'd won, let her celebrate, let her reveal herself completely. And then he'd destroyed her, from beyond the grave. Sometimes people ask if I feel bad for Vanessa, if maybe she deserves a second chance. The answer is no. She tried to murder my father. She poisoned him to speed up his death. She planned to steal everything he'd worked for. She manipulated a dying man. She deserves every year of that 15-year sentence. And I hope she thinks about it. Every single day. I hope she remembers that moment in the lawyer's office. When she thought she'd won. When she was smiling, counting her money. And then the second envelope was opened. And everything fell apart. That's karma. That's justice. That's what happens when you underestimate a dying man who loves his children. The moral of this story is simple. Don't count your winnings before the game is over. Vanessa thought she was smarter than everyone. Thought she could manipulate a sick old man, take his money, walk away rich. But she forgot something important. Dying doesn't mean stupid. My father was sharp until the very end. He saw through her, documented everything, and made sure justice was served, even if he couldn't be there to see it. To anyone dealing with someone trying to take advantage of an elderly family member, document everything, trust your instincts, and remember that sometimes the best revenge is patience. Let them think they're winning. Let them reveal themselves. Then strike. My father did exactly that, and Vanessa is now spending the next 15 years in prison, while we have our inheritance, our peace of mind, and the knowledge that Dad protected us. One last time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. And remember, the second envelope always changes everything. Don't celebrate too early. You never know what's coming next.